up everyone, it's Skill up here with another Division video. I am very pleased to say that we finally have a release date for patch 1.6 and the Last Stand DLC. The patch will be deployed this coming Tuesday, the 28th of February, and it will be available to play by about midday Sweden time. The servers will go down about 3 hours before that, and then once that maintenance window is completed, we will be able to log in and play 1.6 and Last Stand. So just to be really clear about this sort of stuff, because I know people are going to have lots of questions, we're going to go through a few things right now. First of all, 1.6 and Last Stand are available to everyone at the same time. That is PC, Xbox, and PS4. All three platforms get it simultaneously, and this is different to the previous DLCs, whereby you still had those other patches, like patch 1.5 or whatever, but the survival DLC was later for the PS4. It came 1 month after that. That's not happening this time around. 1.6 and Last Stand arrive at the same time. And it's also important to note that 1.6 and Last Stand are of course different. Last Stand is a piece of DLC that includes the new incursion, which is called Lost Signal, and it includes the new dedicated PvP mode, which is actually called Last Stand. Those are the only two things that you get in that paid DLC bundle. Everything else that comes with this update, that's not the incursion and that's not the new dedicated PvP mode, is totally free to everyone. So what is that stuff then? What else is coming? Well, first of all, there is the new legendary difficulty available. 3 of the missions are going to have this as an option, and it adds high level LMB into the mix. They behave very much like the hunters in the survival game mode, and they are pretty damn hardcore. You definitely need to have a very organized group going in there. They don't have a lot more health, but they do slightly more damage, and they're just a hell of a lot smarter and faster. You'll see the way they move around and flank you is a lot more aggressive and a lot more challenging than what you're used to in the normal challenge mode difficulty. So while we're not getting any increase in our gear score, which means our 256 gear is still going to be best in slot going into this patch, we are going to get some new toys, namely the fact that exotic weapons have been revised, and they are actually pretty damn awesome at this point. Where before many of them were just trashed here and you would completely ignore them, now most of them have either a lot of utility or they're just really interesting and fun to use, and they'll sort of complement certain builds and playstyles really well. You can buy a number of these named weapons from the vendor. They're going to be available for Phoenix credits when the patch goes live, but otherwise you're going to have to grind for them by getting lucky, or you're going to be able to get them from a newly added exotic cache. You're going to be able to get a few of these per week, such as by completing your weekly assignment or by completing legendary difficulty missions. It's not quite clear yet how many you'll get per week, but certainly 2 to 3 is going to be a possibility. Now, when you log in, it's important to note that your stats are going to change significantly, and this is mainly because armor has been removed as a major stat from the game. So where before we stacked armor on every single slot, now we actually can't stack it anywhere. We just get what comes native to our gear, and we can't put any more on it. There are some high-end gear pieces that have means of increasing our armor if we stay in cover, for example, but generally speaking, armor stacking is no longer a thing. Health is definitely going to be a popular alternative to it, but don't think that that's going to be the go-to in the same way that armor was, because health doesn't scale anywhere near as well as armor does. So you're going to see some build diversity coming through, with more people stacking more damage or skill power focused stats, as they're not as reliant upon that overpowered armor stat. Skill power has also seen some changes this patch as well. Do keep an eye out for the way that your skills are scaling. The changes aren't as ambitious as I think many skill power users would have hoped for, and the most manifest difference will be that solo players are not going to be able to rely on their heal ability as much if they are not stacking skill power. You're going to have a lot more health, and your heal is going to have a longer cooldown and will also heal you for less unless you've stacked on lots of skill power, so you do need to play around the changes to that ability in particular. Some weapons also got some tuning as well. In particular, SMGs got their critical hit chance back, but they did lose their critical hit damage. So my advice to you is take a good look at the way you've built yourself and how much crit chance and crit damage you're stacking to make sure you're not exceeding the 60% critical hit chance cap, since nothing can get you over that. Literally every point in critical hit chance you put in after 60% is totally wasted, so try and look for as many opportunities to stack critical hit damage as you can. The L86 1.6 is an LMG that also got a slight buff as well. It's sort of like an assault rifle. It's got one of the smaller magazines and slightly faster rate of fire than other LMGs, but it only saw a 4% damage increase, so it's not a big deal. Probably nothing worth paying attention to. Some of the gear sets got some really big changes as well. For instance, Alpha Bridge can only stack 4 talents now, not 6. However, you don't need to meet the requirements for the stats anymore to activate the talents. They will simply automatically activate. Similarly, Reclaimer got some huge buffs, so check that set out because it's a lot more powerful now. The Tactician's Authority set is also much more usable since it only resets the stacks when you use an ability rather than resetting them every 10 seconds. And finally, for those of you that love the Dark Zone, there aren't too many changes in there, to be honest, except for the fact that 3 new Dark Zone areas have been opened up to you, Dark Zone 7, 8, and 9. While there are only 3 of these Dark Zone areas, apparently they are so stacked and so vertical that it really equates to a doubling of size of the Dark Zone, and the player population per server remains the same, so you can actually expect to have less PvP encounters in the Dark Zone, given that people are more likely to be spread out or hid in the little nooks and crannies of Dark Zone 7, 8, and 9. At the same time, they're also adding a certain new type of landmark, one that spawns waves of enemies instead of just the normal type where you kill all the enemies and then you're done. They should offer increased rewards as well. There's a whole bunch of other smaller changes that I haven't spoken about here, like literally dozens and dozens of other changes, and you can check my patch notes video in the description below. It'll cover a lot of them, and you can also check out my Last Stand impressions and explanation video as well to get an overview of how Last Stand works and how you should be playing it. Since it works for both PvE and PvP players, there's something in there for everyone. Now, as you are probably aware, the Last Stand DLC is the very last piece of DLC that we will get as part of Year 1, so the Season Pass is now officially over, and we play the waiting game for Year 2 content. In the recent state of the game, Yannick and Hamish did confirm that there was more DLC on the way, but they specifically did not provide any information on that yet. They no doubt want to keep the focus on the upcoming patch, but I suspect it's not too long until we start hearing details about Year 2 DLC, especially given the fact that they're currently making a Division movie, by the way, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's got some like serious Oscar-nominated director at the helm, so that's pretty exciting as well. For now, guys, 1.6 is happening. It's coming on Tuesday, midday Sweden time. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to getting back into the game. I've certainly been taking it easy in the last little while. Looking forward to grinding those exotic weapons in particular, since I'm a huge collector. And similarly, really enjoyed the new Lost Signal incursion. I think it's their best work to date. Legendary difficulty is fantastic. And while I'm not a big PvPer, I think even I will jump into Last Stand game mode because it's pretty damn fun. Guys, I really hope you're looking forward to 1.6. I hope you enjoy it when it finally lands. If you are looking forward to it, drop the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe because I've got plenty of videos on the way. Thank you very much for watching. Take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.